And the first question of the show goes to all of you here and all of you at home, and that is, what's the good word? You are ready. The date for hate is almost here. We are less than 48 hours from the 119th edition of Clean Old Fashioned Hate at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And over the next hour, we will talk Georgia Tech football with your head coach, Brent Key. My name is Andy Demetra. We are once again live tonight from our friends at Realm Brewery on the east side belt line of Atlanta, up on the rooftop. You guys once again have understood the assignment. You packed it out here. Hey, look, we're undefeated this year. We're on the roof at Realm Brewing, and I think that bodes well for Friday when Tome East Leather at 3:30 as Georgia Tech takes on Georgia for bragging rights in the state and much, much more. But let's, without further ado, welcome in the man himself. You will see him on the sidelines at Mercedes-Benz Stadium come 3:30 on Friday. Man who knows a thing or two about winning in this rivalry. He is your head coach, Brent Key. Brent, happy early Thanksgiving. How are you tonight?
I'm excited to be at the fastest hour in all of radio right here.
It's kind of like that, huh?
It really is. I mean, just us going back and forth and talking about football, just two guys being guys doing guy things.
Two guys being dudes. You gave me a homework assignment on the show last week. Do you remember this?
I don't remember anything past last week.
I am not surprised by that, number one. You asked me to come up with a word for your favorite rhetorical device that you take great satisfaction in spot-checking me on at every opportunity. And it turns out that there is an actual linguistic term for this. Your favorite rhetorical device, and that would be a declarative question, which is a sentence.
A
declarative question.
Declarative.
It is a sentence that has the grammatical form of a statement, but is delivered with the rising intonation of a question to request confirmation. So there you go.
Wow.
You have to be satisfied now.
Chad gave me one today.
He did.
And he looked right at me afterwards, was like, and kept asking the question. So say it again.
A declarative question.
Declarative.
Yeah.
I'm putting that down in my notes.
You have to be happy with that now.
I really am. I'm excited.
You know what that was?
Yeah, it was a declarative.
That was a declarative question. Good. You're paying attention. I like that.
That was the first time, though.
Not going to be the last either. I promise.
That I'm paying attention?
Yes. Let's get into more salient questions.
The more what?
Salient, pertinent, relevant. That's about as deep into the bag as I can go for that one.
No way.
Let's just get into some questions. How about that?
I thought you said saline.
No, it's a different thing altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's just get into some questions, shall we? And I know, look, you have a locker room full of competitors, and I'm sure your guys may have been beating themselves up over how last Saturday night transpired. What was the message you conveyed to your team to set the tone for this week, make sure that what happened last Saturday is put to bed, nothing lingers from that Pitt game, and all of your guys' focus is directed towards what's at stake, what's at hand this Friday at 3:30?
What was my message?
Mm-hmm. Just to the players, yeah.
What did I want to say? Or what did I want to do?
You can tell us both if you want.
Look, you can't just put things behind you. I mean, that's why you play the game. You go through the process the next day of seeing what you didn't do right, seeing what you did well. But at the same time, I mean, we play a game on a short week, so it was a very quick put it to bed, take corrections, work through corrections, spend time on that, and move quickly because we were back out on the field. We were in meetings and whatnot on Sunday, and we were back on the field Monday morning. 36 hours, less than 36 hours afterwards. So
it didn't take a lot of mental gymnastics to realize that there was a very viable path in that game for you guys to make up a 28-point deficit. I mean, it was right there at the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and that comeback could not have been possible without the play of the defense from mid of the second quarter until really the last possession or two of the fourth quarter. What did the defense do to turn things around, be the type of defense that you knew they could be to help open that door for the comeback?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, you come into a game and you spot somebody 28 points. I mean, I think somebody told me in the ACC, history of the ACC, it's like over or something. And, we cut it 2 scores, at halftime, before halftime. I think it was 28-14 halftime. And then we start getting rolling. We get some stops. We start moving the football a little bit better. And, we get down on the 1 yard or 3 yard line, whatever it was. And, to cut it to 1 score, we throw the interception, they pop a guy out, and they're in a zero coverage, and have everybody on the line of scrimmage, they pop a guy out. Now it's back that's a 14-point swing there. Cut it again. in the game, and at that point, we've got to get another stop, right? And we sold out on the defensive side to get the ball back, and when you sell out like that, one person busts a gap, or one person doesn't travel back with emotion or whatnot, there's nobody on the back to bring it down. So, but the thing we did, we started. I mean, we went into the game knowing we wanted to affect the quarterback, right? And really midway through the second quarter on, just some of the variations and blitzes and pressures and movements we were doing, we were able to attack some of the weaknesses in the protections, and there were also run stunts too, run blitzes, and at the end of the day, you can't I'm not going to try to justify it. We're not going to justify it. A loss is a loss.
You still got 6 sacks, which tied for a season high, and Pitt's first 4 drives of the second half, they ran 19 plays for a net of 24 yards.
Right.
Even though it did look bleak and some moments there in the first half, you have praised your team throughout this year for their poise, their composure. They're never rattled, they're never phased or shaken. Did you still see that same mentality inside the locker room, even as things were kind of trending in the wrong direction in that first half? Was that same kind of DNA that you saw reveal itself in some of those tough moments on Saturday?
I did, and when we cut it to 2 scores, which is very manageable there, and a big reason for that was there's a lot of times something like that happens, and not that I've not been a part of something that happened that quickly and you play that poorly for a quarter and a half, but our fans were outstanding, right? That's what really got us back in the game.
Oh yeah.
All right, they were loud, they were involved, they were into it. It got us back in the game. It really helped us carry that momentum, and so we go into halftime, and we know that there's a very viable way. We cut the gap. We got the flow of the game back on our side. So I mean, everything was positive at halftime as far as what we have to do, what we have to get done. We knew they were an explosive offense, and had the opportunity to be explosive at times, and we had to continue to make a few tweaks, adjustments there to continue to come home with the let's commit.
That's good.
Yeah.
We probably can't mention who, or that might be a violation, but always good when you can get a caller ID of somebody
I think he's
looking to become a Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, he's calling to commit, so I'll call him back afterwards.
You can call him during the commercial break if you'd like. We can hit a timeout if you need. No sense wasting.
Do it.
Okay, there we go. We're breaking new ground here on the Brent Key Coaches Show. He's going to take a phone call because he's got a commit on the line, and we're going to hit our first timeout a little early. I think you can understand getting to this timeout a little early. The man's got some business to take care of. No, the Yellow Jacket set to join the fold. Again, we are counting you down to Tome East Leather, 119th Clean Old Fashioned Hate at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 3:30 Tome East Leather, your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Georgia Bulldogs. Plenty more to get to. We are live tonight from New Realm Brewing on the east side Beltline of Atlanta. We'll have more with head coach Brent Key after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Back at New Realm Brewing on the east side Beltline of Atlanta, and a special Wednesday night edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by a Hyundai. Of course, having to move up the show a day because Clean Old Fashioned Hate has moved up a day to Friday once again. Black Friday at the Benz, and your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets set to take the field 3:30. Tome East Leather. We'll have all the coverage, of course, on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. He's Brent Key. I'm Andy DeMetra. Quick early commercial break because you got a call from a recruit, so you bolted from this table like you were I don't know, a desperado, a bandit perhaps. But hopefully it was a productive phone call for you, Brent.
Yeah, it was. I've been waiting on it. And, so he was telling me he's going to post, the way announce it, post it, all those things. So, no, it's exciting. It's somewhere it'll be a big help for us.
Gotta love live radio, huh? That's why we got some flexibility when we need to take some of those commercial breaks, right?
I started to say that might be the earliest commercial break ever.
Yeah, well, no, I've had earlier in the history of this show, not with you, but yeah, no.
That's the past.
That is the past, yeah. We're not living in that. We're only focused on Friday.
Yeah, just like that game last Saturday. So
absolutely, which is a not-so-subtle cue for me to maybe move to some other subjects. I like that. How about this? This is one you'll like. Aiden Bird named one of 3 finalists for the Lou Groza Award, given annually to the nation's top college place kicker. First Yellow Jacket named a finalist for the Groza Award since Scott Sisson back in 1992.
Wow.
He is 1 made field goal away from tying the single-season school record field goals in the season. Aiden is currently 22 of 25, second most made field goals nationally right now.
Wow.
With his leg, and not just his accuracy, but his consistency and just how clutch he's been for you so many times this season, Brent. How has he changed maybe your play calling calculus and the strategy as your offense is moving into opposing territory? Because, there are a lot of times where you're in that no man's land and it might be two-down territory to most people, but most teams don't have a guy like Aiden Burr.
Yeah, it's him, and it's a combination of him and Marshall. Right? I mean, those guys really change how you call the game. The big picture of the game. Now there's some games you go in and you say, we're going, fourth down this area, we're going to go for it, just to, you feel like that's the thing to do within the game. And one of those came up last week, early in the football game, and Harpy.
I get your daughter here.
So yes, I do. But when you can kick field goals, from those distances, right? And we've stretched it some, but also you don't want to just be willy nilly and kick it from wherever. But that's where the combination now with Marshall. I mean, there was one recently we kicked I think it was a 37-yard line.
Yeah.
We punted from 37 and downed it on the 1 or the 2.
That was at Boston College, yeah.
That's a huge thing when it comes to field position and how you play the game.
Tim Salem, your special teams coordinator, is our pregame guest on the Rivalry Kickoff Show this Friday. Gotta love talking with Turbo. This is the first pregame interview in my time at Georgia Tech where I've actually had to edit out some profanity. So
with Tim,
with Turbo, yeah, I know, hard to believe.
When I was pulling out of the office on the way over here, he was walking out of the building, getting ready to go on his nightly jog.
I love it.
So Tim has been an unbelievable addition to our staff, and Brendan Farrell. Those guys. Me and Brendan were together at Alabama for all those years, and he left there, went to the Dolphins. He's been there for the last 5. And Tim is actually the first my first time as a true assistant coach. From being a GA, then as an assistant, coaching tight ends and offensive line. Tim was the offensive coordinator, so I worked underneath him at UCF, and I got to say that payback is not as kind. So
yes, I'm glad that we would not have had to edit out what you wanted to say.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I had to edit out some words with Tim.
What a great football coach, though. The amount of ball that he knows and his energy. He used to tell me all the time. He slept on the floor his entire life. Did he tell you that?
I've heard of that, yeah.
He's not sleeping in a bed. He sleeps on the floor.
Like the hard, cold floor.
The hard, cold floor. And he says he wakes up in the morning, plugs himself in, has a Mountain Dew, and goes for the rest of the day. End of the day, unplugs himself, goes to sleep, wakes up and does it again.
How is his spine not made of putty at this point? If he spent his entire adult life sleeping on the floor,
I don't know. He runs 20 miles a day or something at night.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Now, his nickname is Turbo because he's constantly on the go. And you might have noticed Tim Salem. You will not see him without his trusty clipboard. And I asked him today, how long have you had that clipboard? Not expecting I would get a very instant and precise answer from Turbo. You want to take a guess how long he's held that clipboard?
Tell me, please.
He said, without skipping a beat, 1997. He's had that since 1997, Columbus, Ohio.
So, Tim, if you ask Tim, he's recruited everywhere in the country. You could ask him any place in the country on a major highway, and he can tell you to the exact mile marker that any exit is.
Really?
Yep.
Might have to do a feature story on Turbo.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, what about in Florida going down 95, just north of Daytona? Well, that's mile marker 113.
That's Tim Ford. He was GPS before GPS.
He didn't need maps and GPS. He knew where to go.
Doesn't need maps. He doesn't need mattresses, evidently. He's a unique guy. I like that.
Tim Salem is incredible.
Yeah, he's been great. The special teams have been great as well. Also, another one of your assistants, your offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, nominated for the Broyles Award, given to the top assistant coach in college football. Of course, Frank Broyles, former player and then a coach here at Georgia Tech. So certainly trying to create some synergy with Buster. Georgia Tech still number 5 in the nation in total offense, number 5 in yards per play. And you could just tell. I talked with Buster last week. And just it's a continued evolution of his offense where this is now the 3rd year in the system, continuing to recruit to it. And it just seems like year over year he's finding ways to be more dynamic. From just like a 30,000-foot perspective, how have you seen Buster's offense become even better than the Buster Faulkner offenses of 2024 and his first year of 23 here?
Well, the big thing is, we talk every day, all the time about being hard to defend, right? And regardless of talent, regardless of who you have in, you got to be an offense that's hard to defend, uses the entire width and length of the field. All right, you want to be able to stretch people horizontally as well as vertically, and when you throw the football, you want to be completion driven. Right, being completion driven, throwing the football is really, really important. All right, everything starts with the run game, and that was part of the issue last week. We weren't able to establish the run game early on, so some of the other things weren't able to flow as easily. But being able to get the ball into playmakers' hands. I mean, I hadn't looked at the stats as far as receivers, running backs, tight ends, and how many guys have catches and touches, but that's a big part of it, is getting certain guys touches and different ways, getting them touches and having plays off of plays.
He's got a great conductor in Haynes King, who's still among the nation's leaders in completion percentage, had his 15th rushing touchdown of the season last Saturday night. He'll have one final spin in clean old-fashioned hate this Friday at 3:30. We know you will be there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. If for whatever reason you can't, you can tune in to the Georgia Tech Sports Network, our network airtime beginning at 1:30. Time to hit another timeout. Oh, by the way, one other award this week. This man right here, Brent Key, American Football Coaches Association Region 1 Coach of the Year. So congratulations to Brent Key. That's a declarative question, by the way. I know you probably don't need to say anything more beyond that, but congratulations, Brent.
By default.
By default, it's a pretty big region.
Yeah.
Got to make some room in your mantle inside that office. Got some hard work coming. Of course, he would love nothing more to bring that Governor's Cup trophy back home to Atlanta where it belongs. And we'll see if Georgia Tech can pay that off on Friday at 3:30. Hit another timeout. Much more here of the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by Hyundai. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. As we welcome you back to New Realm Brewing here, 550 Somerset Terrace Northeast on the East Side Beltline. Wednesday night of Thanksgiving week. Very popular night for going out. Appreciate you guys getting a head start on the shenanigans with us here on the rooftop at New Realm. And we know where we'll see you on Friday afternoon. That'll be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the 119th clean old-fashioned hate between your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm Andy Demetra. He is Brent Key. Another edition, our season-ending edition of the regular season, at least, of the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by Hyundai. Coach, I want to get back to something you alluded to earlier, and I think it bears repeating. Even when it was 28-7, Andrew Gardner and I even said on the air, just by the decibel level inside Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field, you could not have told anyone who was listening at that moment that the team that was down 21 was the team whose fans were generating all that noise. It felt like you guys got so much energy delivered to you from that sellout crowd to keep fueling them amid the comeback. I know as much as you keep your focus so laser-guided on the field, you had to take a step back and really appreciate just the fans bringing it for all 60 minutes, trying to will your guys on. I know you get that same energy from them this Friday afternoon.
For sure. I mean, that is that's been the fans have been a huge reason for our success at home over the last really 3 years now, 2 years now, 3 years, whatever it is. So can't thank them enough. Just so excited about the future with everyone together, the team, the fans, everyone coming together to continue this journey we're on.
Yeah, 3 consecutive sellouts, which includes Friday. And so a testament to you Georgia Tech fans. And again, the turnout here has been outstanding all fall long at New Realm Brewing. Isaiah Canyon had a couple of touchdown catches for you last Saturday night. He had some drops, but shook those off, otherwise played well. For Isaiah, still a young guy, just a sophomore, where is the next step for him in becoming a more complete, dangerous receiver?
Consistency. He's big, he's strong. He can run, and he has as good a hands as anybody. I think Isaiah's thing is he gets really excited about what happens after the catch because of his ability with the ball in his hand, and sometimes he thinks about that right before he completes the catch. But no, that's something that we constantly work on. He doesn't have bad hands. He's got naturally really, really good, strong hands. But that's something in the off season when you look at those guys. Hand strength is so important in the game of football. That's somewhere where we can really improve ourselves, and that's getting off of blocks. That's sustaining blocks. That's catching the football. That's pulling the ball out of the air. Securing tackles, all those things.
Yeah, Isaiah is a physical specimen, 6'4", but he eats up ground with every stride. The man who led your team in receptions versus Pitt was Jamal Haynes, who also had a rushing touchdown. That's back-to-back weeks now. Jamal has found the end zone on a carry. Has it felt more like the typical Jamal these last couple of weeks after it seemed like he'd been bottled up the previous several games?
Yeah, for sure. Jamal is somebody that we knew we had to get the ball in his hand. We had to get him some production and get him going, so we chose several different ways to be able to do it a little bit outside of the box or outside of the realm of what we've done the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Jamal, just, it was his senior day. It's so cool to see him and his mom. Like we told the story last week, his mom, Annette, played 2 seasons of tackle football for a semi-pro team in Atlanta, and that was Jamal's first inspiration for the position. And I think as his Georgia Tech career winds down, I think he's a great example of somebody who has been here for 5 years, who came as a slot receiver, did not have a single offensive snap his first 2 years, but he bet on himself, he stuck it out, he stayed committed to the process, and he will leave here ranked in the top 10 in school history in career rushing yards. What do you hope Jamal's story kind of communicates to other guys who are still young into their Georgia Tech careers about just staying persistent, having faith in themselves, and knowing that there will come a time where it'll all pay off and they can be every bit as productive as Jamal has been?
You tell the young guys that all the time. You talk to them about it. But to have true examples of it, that of people that everybody knows what they've done, the last 3 seasons in football, right? But so when you have a representative like that, someone that you can show, hey, you might be struggling right now. This might be going through this. This might be happening. You might not be getting the playing time that you want. Right, to have so many of those examples of guys that have continued to push through and persevere and be able to come out on top and have really good careers is important. It's important for the future.
And 6 receptions against Pitt shows he still has very capable receivers' hands. Malik Rutherford is 1 catch away from moving into 4th in school history in career receptions. This was the guy who came. Yeah, I caught you mid-fry chew right there with that nugget right there. Yeah, you're past Harvey Middleton against Pittsburgh, and he's continuing to climb the ranks. In fact, 8 more catches, and he will tie Calvin Johnson for 2nd most receptions in school history. A guy who came here as the first commit in his class, who is 5'9", 138 pounds at his first weigh-in the summer after he arrived. And though diminutive and slight of stature, he has not been slight of stats and will be as good a pass catcher as has ever walked through the doors at Georgia Tech. How has he left this wide receiver room better than when he first entered it?
Well, he's left it bigger.
It's true. He's about, like 170 now?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Maybe with all of the pads, no?
All the gear and,
big pregame meal, maybe?
2 cheeseburgers and a plate of pasta.
He's got some quarters, stuffed inside his shirt?
Nah, he's about your weight.
Okay. That's not a glowing endorsement of Malik, but he's got a few more ball skills than I have.
No, Malik's put a lot of weight on. He actually has put a lot on this year of good weight. Because that was kind of the thing that's been, that's plagued him, has been the injury bug, nicks and things here and there. And he's explosive, but I call him the Energizer Bunny. I mean, he is. He's got so much energy. Regardless of what he's going through, he's infectious. He's such a great representative. And, again, someone that's been in the room a long time, understands how we do things here, understands what Trent wants from him as a receiver coach, and is a hugely positive impact on the younger guys.
He's given Haynes King a great weapon, and Haynes King just strikes me as one of those quarterbacks who's not going to let one, I'm sure by his standards, underwhelming performance turn into his second. When he flipped on that tape, when you talked with him coming out of last Saturday, what was Haynes maybe not hitting at the way that everyone had grown so accustomed to seeing him do throughout his Georgia Tech career this season in particular? And that he'll be more like the Haynes King that people have seen week in and week out this Friday.
So I asked him, I know he plays golf. In the off season, he loves to play golf, and anybody like that, is a pretty good golfer, right? And so I said, "What's your best score?" I said, "Next time you played that course, did you shoot the same thing?" No, exactly, because when you're dealing with a position that has to do with precision, timing, skill set, there's going to be times that it's off, right? And it can be so many different reasons. You just a little bit more height on the ball, a little bit lower on a little bit lower with the football, or whatever it is, right? And then it because that is the quarterback and it's the person that controls the offense and really the team goes through, right? If X position takes the wrong footwork or whatever, you might not be able to tell, but when the quarterback does, the world can see it. So he's in a great place. We've had some great conversations this week. He said his golf game would probably be a lot worse than it was over the summer, and I would hope so. But just like Tiger, he would come back and be able to go blow the doors off the U.S. Open after shooting bad in the whatever tournament. So
the one difference between Haynes King and Tiger Woods, though, Haynes King will not wear red, like Tiger used to do on Sundays when he was winning majors.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I knew that.
Come on.
I knew that one.
I was going to say, I know you're all about football, but I
no,
feel like you know enough
I'm
about
about
sports.
great competitors. I am about the greatest of the greats. It's fascinating to me to study those guys, to see those guys, the Tiger Woods, the Tom Bradys, the Michael Jordans, Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter, the truly like exceptional great ones that are on a whole nother level. It's fascinating.
Do you have a Derek Jeter quote or a Kobe Bryant quote in the stairwell of the football facility?
Both. Michael Phelps also.
I like that too.
And Kobe, it's Kobe, Jeter, Phelps. Yeah.
Not a bad guy to drink wisdom from, I suppose.
No, so many things. When you hear those guys talk, about their careers now that they're done, it's fast. It's everything that we say to people, but to actually live it every single day is a totally different world.
And you give those guys a daily reminder. By the way, Haynes King in that Pitt game surpassed Reggie Ball. He's now second in Georgia Tech history in total offense. He's fourth in career passing yards. One more passing touchdown. He'll break a tie with Sean Jones, third in school history in career touchdown passes. And, oh, by the way, also last week, Haynes King named one of 5 finalists for the Unitas Golden Arm Award. I have a feeling that's not the last postseason award that Haynes King will be in contention for, but though it won't be necessarily an award, there will be no greater satisfaction than him leading Georgia Tech to a victory this Friday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in clean old-fashioned hate. We are continuing to count you down to Tome East Leather at 3:30 from the Benz on Friday. Time to hit another timeout with the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by Hyundai, live from New Realm Brewing on the east side Beltline of Atlanta. Yes, Brent, you can chew away. Got a full plate of tenders. Hey, look, we have nothing without a well-fed coach, and he's going to feed his guys a lot of energy as well come Friday.
Had to do something a little different, break up the mojo.
Yeah, now try to throw off my concentration. Yeah, you can talk and chew at the same time if you want. No, you're not going to. I appreciate that. Appreciate the etiquette. We'll hit another timeout. Much more to come here on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Make sure you stick around here at New Realm Brewing if you're listening on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. The Good Word with Justin Hanover, Chris Mooneyham. Immediately follow the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by Hyundai, our final regular season edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show. Once again, up on the roof of New Realm Brewing on the east side Beltline of Atlanta. It's been so much fun this year, just communing with Georgia Tech fans. We've had amazing turnout every single Thursday, or in tonight's case, Wednesday. I can't thank you guys enough for completely transforming the environment of this coaches show. We hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed being with you guys every single week here for the Brent Key Coaches Show.
This has been great. I mean, the rooftop up here, the view, the people that have been here, the fun we've had. I mean, anybody that hadn't been to New Realm, you got to get here to sit on the rooftop, hang out, have a cold beer, just great spot.
And especially on Thursday nights, again, tonight being Wednesday, but most of the time we do this on Thursday. Yeah.
No, it's not Thursday.
Yeah, no. You said you thought Thanksgiving was yesterday.
I did.
For like 6 hours.
Not that it was yesterday. I thought yesterday, I thought today was Thanksgiving. For like the whole day until like staff meeting. And they're like, "Hey, coach, that's not tomorrow." And I was, "What?"
Were you wondering where like the turkey and the stuffing and the catering was at that point?
I was all messed up.
Yeah.
And I had to, everything is, like on the calendars and schedules, it has the day and the date, but it has parentheses what day it is in real world. Or football world, which is real world.
I once heard a football coach say, Thanksgiving is not a day, it's a meal.
Yeah, because, Friday, Saturday, Thursday's Friday.
Yeah.
Wednesday is Thursday. Thursday is Thanksgiving, but it's actually
a work day for you guys.
Yeah, but Wednesday was Thursday, so is Wednesday Thanksgiving or Thursday Thanksgiving?
Well, technically Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll check with the Pilgrims on that.
There's no more Pilgrims.
There are descendants, I'm sure, somewhere.
I am. I'm a former. I get my great something.
Was a Pilgrim.
Well, they had
came over in the Mayflower. Wait a second. This is fascinating. You're serious?
No, it's total BS.
Come on. You sold it so well, though. I was about to do a 23andMe on you here for my next column.
23andMe.
Yeah, Ancestry. Yeah.
No.
Okay, well.
I'm not very.
You at least save me some money on that.
I'm not very schooled up on my my tree lineage.
By the way, Jordan Vandenberg is the subject of this week's Inside the Chart column on RamblinWreck.com. Delved into his very creative use of his revenue sharing and NIL funds. And Jordan Vandenberg, in addition to being an all-ACC defensive tackle, as of last month, is Atlanta's newest laundromat owner. He's the owner of a new laundromat, bought one on the west end of Atlanta. And he told me he's got 3 full-time employees. One of those employees' names is Key.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I'll leave here and go straight over there. And
they're open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week.
That's such a cool thing,
isn't that?
I mean, it's outstanding what our players. That's why I am such a believer in this new age of college athletics. I've believed in it for a long time. I'm glad it's here. I know a lot of people, want to make blanket statements and say, "Oh, I don't like the way it is. I don't like they're getting paid." Well, most of those people aren't on the inside either. They don't see the benefit, right? You could turn anything into a negative, all right, and people can abuse it. But our players, I mean, the things they've invested in, the way they've utilized the resources. I mean, JJ and his laundromat, I mean, that's just one of many, many things that, I mean, we got guys that have bought, large tracts of land. They're working to get into development. We've got guys that we're currently working to build out a private equity fund to allow guys to be able to invest into commercial real estate ventures and high-tech startup companies. I mean, that's what's different with us and other people, right? And I'm not going to have that on my conscience that guys are, getting this money and then, they're just going to blow it all on nothing. I mean, I want to provide opportunity and for these guys to learn. My job as the head coach is to develop these young men into better citizens and better products, and better people in society because they're a product of Georgia Tech football. And the things we're teaching them, the things they're learning are going to be with them for the rest of their life.
It's so easy to be cynical about revenue sharing and NIL.
But most people that don't know it.
Yeah, and they all think it's conspicuous consumption because these are 18 to 22-year-old kids, but they're thinking about their future and they're using what they're learning in school, whether they're in the Scheller College or in some other college on campus, and making their money make money for them in a way that I feel like collectively you just don't see at a lot of other schools, and that speaks not only to your program but just the whole culture of Georgia Tech. It's allowing these young men to utilize their NIL earnings in a completely transformative way, and in a way that you don't see a lot of similarities at any other place in the FBS.
No, you don't. We have an entire part of our program called the fifth quarter program, and the fifth quarter is everything that's life after football, right? It's the fifth quarter of life, and there was something that the first day I was hired as the head coach that I instilled here and wanted to be a part of our program. And we've made massive commitments to the infrastructure and the personnel within that. And it's headed up by our director of player development, Anthony Parker, affectionately known as AP, to everybody. But he really takes these young men and teaches them and molds them. And we have every kid has an app on their phone that. And I can sit here and proudly say that every kid on our football team, 100% of the kids on our team, are up to date and have paid their taxes for the last 2 years. And there's not a lot of schools in the country that can say that. I mean, there's schools that I won't say the names of them that when these companies have gone in, they had 2 people on their team had done their taxes for the previous year. 2 out of 100+ kids. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to have that on my conscience. I'm not going to allow that to happen. So, right. Whether they're receiving, compensation from NIL or rev share or whatever it is, it's not changing. It's not going away. All right. So the coaches that can adapt and use it as a resource for the future and develop these young men in the future. Look, we're supposed to teach them, about all these different things and develop them. Well, then we're just going to run away and turn our backs to the financial part of it. All right. I'm not going to have that.
No, and certainly your players have, shown a lot of responsibility in managing their money. And taking advantage of it in a responsible way and in a way that continue to transform their futures after they leave at Georgia Tech. I want to sort of turn the clock back for you because, last Saturday was his final home game at Bobby Dodd Stadium, at Hyundai Field. You'll see him again on Friday. Haynes King has been such a transformative player, Brent, in your program. When was the first time you heard the name Haynes King?
Oh, I remember when he was coming out of high school. You're aware of all the players across the country, and obviously the quarterback position is one that it's the most important position in my opinion, all of athletics, all of sports. And I heard about him, and at the time, a lot of friends of mine at the time were coaching at Tennessee, and they were one of the finals with him. And
that was where Chris Winkie was, right?
Yeah,
at the
Wink
time?
was there, and then there was several others. Actually, AJ Artis was there. A lot of guys, and but I'd heard the name, and then when it came down to when I got hired, okay, we got to find our quarterback. And there were three guys, and I won't mention obviously their names, but they were at that time extremely high profile at the time names. Like they were the hottest names out there. And you turn on the film of this guy, and then Chris had a personal relationship. Then once you start to get to know him, it was pretty much a consensus that this was the guy we wanted. He might not have been the person that everyone else said. Now, a bunch of people wanted him, but it might not have been the person that the pundits and the critics and whatnot said was supposed to be the best. Well, he's, of all those guys in that grouping, I mean, he's hands down by far had the best career.
How's Chris Winkie helped polish his mechanics since he started working with him 3 years ago? Or really, was there not much to...
How does he or how has he?
How has he?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. So, when he came in, his throwing, he had a really over-the-top release, right? Which it's an elongated release. He's a long,
kind of long limb,
yes,
long-legged guy, yeah.
And when he got here, Chris spent so much time with him. Buster spent so much time with him on his feet, and it really was. It's not about the throwing motion as much as it was about the lower body and getting his feet and being able to transition his weight from one to the other, following through, and it really, all those things helped tighten it up. Well, then when he got hurt last year and hurt his shoulder last year, it kind of went back to the same thing that it was prior. Well, he's in a better place now than he was even prior to the injury last year, as far as his mechanics and his delivery and the touch he puts on the ball, the velocity. It's been evident in the way he's played this year.
He broke the school record last year for single-season completion percentage, and he's trending right now in 2025 to have the second-best single-season completion percentage in Georgia Tech history. So, yes, I think Chris Winkie and his mechanical tweaks of Haynes King have paid off handsomely, and I think whenever that final pass is thrown in the Georgia Tech uniform for number 10, he will take his place in the pantheon of great Georgia Tech quarterbacks, and maybe his pantheon among the toughest to ever lace him up for Georgia Tech.
There's no question. No question. He is, and I've said this a lot, and it's not just Haynes, it's other guys that have come in and been with him in this journey. Right? The effect they're going to have on the program is going to be felt, 8, 10, 12, 15 years from now, because of what they've done to ingrain the winning culture into that locker room.
He will try to add, though, one last crowning achievement to an already decorated career come Friday at 3:30, and that, of course, is when Tommy Leather in the 119th edition of Clean Old Fashioned Hate. We got to hit our final timeout. We'll dive more into a preview of what's in store. We all know what's at stake, but now it's time to find out what's in store on Friday at 3:30 for your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets as we close down our season-ending edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by Hyundai, live from New Realm Brewing on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Well, tomorrow, folks, enjoy Thanksgiving with your families, but Friday, put on your gold. It's time to get to work at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 3:30, Tomy's Leather. Clean, old-fashioned hate for your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Let's cap off the regular season the right way with a rivalry win, and one that we can enjoy for the next 365 days. Final minutes of the program here, our regular season-ending edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show, driven by Hyundai. He's Brent Key. I'm Andy DeMetra, and Coach, final few minutes of the program. Let's talk about this matchup. Last year you gained 563 yards against Georgia. They've had an historically stingy defense, but you found success against them. What made that so, and what can you draw from that performance last year to carry over to Friday?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think a lot carries over one year to another. The rosters are different. The experience is different. all those things. But and play-wise, I mean, you're not going to go out there and run the same plays. That's just not the way things work. And
you had them off balance, though. That's a good place to start.
Look, I believe in our players. Georgia Tech is about the players. It's always been about the players, and it always will be about the players. And I have confidence in those guys going out to play Friday afternoon.
Not asking you to divulge the game plan, but what will be the overarching message to the defense? Again, first 4 possessions of the second half versus Pitt, they gained 24 total yards, so they certainly have it in them to put together another salty, stingy performance against a very good Georgia offense, but see if they can build on that and make it a complete 60 minutes for your guys.
What is my message to them?
Overarching message, yeah.
Just get the job done by any means necessary, whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm. And look, you shut them out in the first half last year and held them way below their averages in total yards and scoring offense. There is something to be said. I know you say games last year don't really carry over to this year, but there is sort of a subliminal proof of concept that some of those players on that field last year can maybe draw from. Do you think maybe if only in sort of the psychological sense that can be beneficial for some of your guys on defense?
I don't know. I don't really care. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. All I care about are those 100 players I'm taking to Mercedes-Benz on Friday.
I like it. I know you'll have a bunch of Georgia Tech fans who will be right there step for step with him. It seems like this has become a tradition now on this particular week's Brent Key show that I kind of give you the floor for the final minute or so because you always find a way to deliver one last message to Georgia Tech fans that just puts, that has the hair stand up on their skin. What do you have to say to Georgia Tech fans less than 48 hours?
That's awesome. I appreciate it. The biggest thing is I just want to thank the fans for the support this year, right? And we've had a lot of really good times this season. We've had some things that didn't go our way, and at the end of the day, the fan support we have, it's got to continue to be consistent. It's got to continue to support these kids. These kids go through what you wouldn't even imagine, right? When it comes to the things they do in their routine on a daily basis, right? But this week, it's about one thing, and like I said, by any means necessary, whatever it takes, right? Friday is all that matters. Whatever's in front of you, right? Whatever's been behind you, none of that matters. All right, you can throw everything else out the window, and I really don't care what anybody says. Georgia Tech is about toughness. Georgia Tech is about willpower, and Georgia Tech is about doing things that other people say we can't do. Right? Go ahead and tell us we can't do it, and then watch us.
There's no greatness without toughness, and I believe at Georgia Tech we have more of it than you will know. And when Tommy Leather, it's not about hype or stars or odds, what the pundits think. The skeptics insist it's just about pure, relentless toughness for 60 minutes, and we will see you at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Friday at 3:30. That wraps up this edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show. Brent, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Go Jackson. To hell with Georgia.
He's Brent Key. I'm Andy Demetra. Thanks once again, everybody.